Hello my dear students, in this lecture we are going to see engine material selection. Now let us understand the different types of material used for engine. Now here basically three types of material are used for the engine. One by one we will understand these materials. Now number one cast iron is used. Cast iron is used. Now cast iron is generally heavy engine. Whenever cast iron is used, then engine becomes heavy engine. First point is heavy engine. There will be a heavy engine. That means mass is more. That means mass is more. And as mass is more, inertia, that is mass into acceleration. Inertia will be more. That is mass into acceleration will be more. Right. Therefore, there will be a more inertia. Or we can say inertia is more. Heavy engine, hence inertia is more. Now, as the mass is more and inertia is more, hence there will be a more vibrations. Therefore, we can say more vibrations, more vibrations. And as there are more vibrations, there will be more losses, right? We can say more losses. Hence, we can say less mileage. Hence, we can say less mileage, right? As losses are more, there will be less mileage. But my dear students, whenever cast iron is used as an engine material, then engine becomes stronger. That is, strength is more. We can say strength is more for cast iron, right? Hence, this is the first material, that is cast iron. Second material used is aluminum alloy. Second material is used is aluminum alloy. Aluminum alloy. And my dear students, aluminum alloy is exactly opposite to cast iron. That is, first point is engine becomes light in weight. That is, it is light in weight engine. We can say lightweight engine. The engine will be lightweight. That means mass is decreasing, and as mass is decreasing, mass into acceleration, which is called inertia. Inertia is less. Therefore, we can say inertia is less. Right. Again, as mass is less, inertia is less, therefore there will be less vibrations. We can say there will be less vibrations, and as vibrations are less, hence losses will be less. We can say losses will be less, hence more mileage. More mileage. That means the aluminum engine gives more mileage as compared to cast iron engine, right? Now next point is, but this aluminum engine will be having lesser strength as compared to cast iron engine, right? Therefore we can say strength is less. Strength is less. And my dear students, again there is one more material which will give all the properties in between cast iron and aluminum alloy, that is steel alloy. That is steel alloy. Now if I use steel alloy, all the properties or all the comparison will be in between, cast iron and aluminum alloy. All the comparison will be in between of cast iron and aluminum alloy. That is, the mass or weight will be in between cast iron and aluminum. There is mass will be more for cast iron and less for aluminum, and in between for steel alloy. Again, inertia will be more for cast iron, minimum for aluminum alloy, and in between for steel alloy. Then vibrations and losses will be maximum for cast iron engine and minimum for aluminum alloy engine, but in between for steel alloy. Similarly, you can do the comparison for all the rest parameters. Now let us understand engine material selection with the help of schematic view or diagrammatically. Now let us draw the engine. Here there will be a cylinder. There will be a cylinder. This is a cylinder of engine. We can say this is a cylinder of engine. Now where on the cylinder cooling jackets are attached. These are the cooling jackets for cooling purpose. Cooling, or we can say cooling water jacket. Cooling water jacket. Water jacket for cooling purpose. Right. Now, inside this cylinder, piston is reciprocating. So, here I will draw the piston. Piston, actual view of piston will look like this. This is how piston will look like this, which is reciprocating inside cylinder. This piston is reciprocating inside cylinder. Right. Now, we can say it is a piston. It is a piston. Now, on this piston, there are piston rings. Here, on this piston, there are piston rings to avoid air fuel mixture loss. This is a piston ring. To avoid leakage, we can say to avoid leakage also between piston cylinder mechanism. Right. These are the piston rings. Piston rings. Right. Now again there will be a inlet valve. IV stands for inlet valve. There will be a exhaust valve. EV stands for exhaust valve. There will be a spark plug. If it is SI engine, there will be a spark plug. ESP stands for spark plug. Right. Again, this piston here, this piston is connected to connecting rod with the help of gudgeon pin. Here, gudgeon pin is used, and with the help of this gudgeon pin, this piston is connected to connecting rod. Here you will find this is a connecting rod. Right. Here there will be a gudgeon pin. Gudgeon pin. We can represent gudgeon pin with capital G, and here it is a connecting rod. CR for connecting rod. Again, this connecting rod is connected to the crank rod. Here there will be a crank rod. Right. This will be the crank rod, or simply it is called crank. Right. And this crank, here there will be a crankshaft. Here there will be a crankshaft. Crankshaft. From where power is from this crankshaft, power is transferred to the flywheel, and from flywheel to the rest of other components of vehicle. And this crank is rotating. This crank is rotating. Right. This crank will be rotating like this with angular velocity omega or speed rpm n. Right. Now let us understand the materials. Now depending on the type of loading, we have to use the material. Let us understand for spark plug. Spark plug we can represent with SP. Now generally for spark plug, platinum is best suited material. Here generally platinum is best suited material. But my dear students, we are not using platinum. Theoretically we can say platinum is best suited material, but we are not using platinum. And here we are using nickel alloy. We are using nickel alloy. Right. Nickel alloy is practically used material. Right. Let us understand why nickel alloy is used. Let us say for sparking, very high potential is required. Very important point, remember, for sparking, here I am writing, for sparking very high potential is required. High potential is required because to overcome air resistance we need very high potential. Let us consider, here I will provide high potential. Let us say negative terminal, positive terminal, and let us say this is a spark gap. Let us say this is a spark gap. We need spark gap also. Right. Where spark will be generated. Where spark will be generated. Right. Now here the potential difference, that is voltage difference, is very high, up to 10,000 volt. Up to 10,000 volt, this much high there will be a potential difference. Because in this spark gap there will be a air resistance, and to overcome this air resistance we need very high potential difference. Right. And after sparking, the temperature is increased very significantly. That is, temperature almost becomes equal to 1600 degrees Celsius. or more than this, somewhat less than this or more than this. Average temperature will be 1600 degrees Celsius, which is very high temperature, right? And as there is very high temperature, there will be a thermal expansion. There will be definitely thermal expansion. And my dear students, for maximum spark strength, we need this spark gap to be constant. This spark gap must be constant for sparking strength, right? Now here, if platinum is used, for platinum the alpha is very high, that is coefficient of thermal expansion is very high, right? And as coefficient of thermal expansion is very high, because at this high temperature there will be a more expansion, therefore the gap will change, this spark gap will change, and spark strength will decrease. And for nickel alloy, if I use nickel alloy, for nickel alloy, almost this coefficient of thermal expansion is 0. Almost this coefficient of thermal expansion is 0. Hence, there will be no thermal expansion and this spark gap remains constant, right? And as this spark gap is constant for nickel alloy, hence there will be a maximum sparking strength for nickel alloy. Hence, practically nickel alloy is used as a material for spark plug. Now next, we will understand the material for gudgeon pin. Now here gudgeon pin is represented by capital G. Now generally this gudgeon pin is subjected to fatigue loading. That is, let us say there is a gudgeon pin like this, and this gudgeon pin is subjected to alternate tension and compression. Sometimes it is subjected to tensile stress sigma T, and for some time it is subjected to compressive stress sigma C, right? Compressive stress sigma C, and this tension and compression are one after another, that is alternate, right? Means if I draw loading, then sometimes it is subject to tension, then compression, then tension, compression, right? Here sigma T and sigma C, means it is a fatigue load. This gudgeon pin is subjected to fatigue loading. We can say completely reverse fatigue loading, and such type of loading you are going to understand in machine design subject, that is fatigue load design, design for fatigue loading, right? Or design for fluctuating loading. In this topic you are going to understand these concepts, right? And as it is subjected to fatigue load, we have to use ductile material, right? Hence ductile material is used, ductile material is used for gudgeon pin. And my dear students, as it is subjected to fatigue loading, then cold forged steel is used. Generally cold forged steel is used for a gudgeon pin. And these materials, that is cold forged steel, why such type of material is used, these all concepts you are going to understand in material science or production engineering subject, right? So as of now, remember, for gudgeon pin cold forged steel is used, that is cold forging operation is used. And my dear students, this connecting rod as well as crank are also subjected to fluctuating loads. Connecting rod and crank are also subjected to fluctuating loads. Hence, they are made by drop forging method. We can say crank and connecting rod. Connecting rod and crank are made by drop forging method. Drop forging method. Now, you must know that forging is used to remove internal defects. My dear students, generally forging is used to remove internal defects and machining is used to remove external defects. Whenever there are internal defects in the body, then we have to use forging operation, and whenever there are surface defects or external defects, we have to use machining operation. Forging is nothing but, let us say there is a material, in this material there are internal defects. Now with the help of hammer, let us say this is a hammer, and with the help of this hammer we will do forging. This hammer is applying impact load on this material, and this side is fixed, this side is fixed, and hammer will apply impact load, and because of this internal defects will be removed, right? And machining is used to remove surface defects. If defects are on surface, then machining is used. These all operations, that is forging and machining, casting, welding, these all operations you are going to understand in production engineering subject. Next, we will understand material for piston ring. Understand the material for piston ring. My dear students, this piston ring must be made from brittle material. This piston ring must be made from brittle material because this piston here, you can understand, this piston is reciprocating inside cylinder. There will be a to and fro motion like this, reciprocating inside cylinder, and with piston, the piston ring is also reciprocating. And if this piston ring is made from ductile material, then because of friction, this piston ring will bend, right? The ductile materials generally deform and brittle materials do not deform. Now, if it is made from the ductile material, the piston ring will bend like this, right? The piston ring will bend like this, and there will be some sort of gap. There gap will be produced here, and from this gap, the air fuel mixture will leak out. Air fuel mixture, AFM, is stands for air fuel mixture, will leak out. Therefore, to avoid this leakage of air fuel mixture, this piston ring is made from brittle material, and brittle material do not deform. That is, we can say deformation is negligible, no deformation. Hence, there will be no air fuel mixture leakage, and if there is a air fuel mixture leakage, such type of loss is called blow by loss. Blow by loss. And hence we can say, if this piston ring is made from ductile material, then there will be a blow by loss, and if this piston ring is made from brittle material, there will be no blow by loss. And one more thing, my dear students, as this piston is reciprocating, that is to and fro motion, with this piston ring is also reciprocating. Therefore, to here the friction must be minimum. Hence, this piston ring must be smooth to minimize the friction. That means this piston ring must act as a self lubricating to minimize friction losses. Hence silicone is added. Hence, to minimize, we can say, to minimize friction losses, silicone is added. Silicone is added in the brittle material. Hence, silicone plus cast iron. Silicone is added in cast iron, and this piston ring is made from cast iron by adding silicone to minimize friction. Now, generally, this piston ring looks like this. This piston ring looks like this. Now, there will be a air fuel mixture here. There will be a air fuel mixture. Now, here I am using only one piston ring. Let us say one piston ring. If I use one piston ring, now because of this one piston ring, there are chances of leakage of this air fuel mixture. Air fuel mixture may go out. Such type of loss is called blow by loss. This is called blow by loss. And my dear students, to avoid this, generally piston rings are used in pairs. Hence, like this, let us say this is one piston ring. This is the first piston ring over which another piston ring is connected like this. Now, because of such arrangement, if there is a air fuel mixture loss from the first ring, the second ring will avoid this air fuel mixture loss. Hence, there will be no blow by loss. Here, there will be no blow by loss, we can say, right? Hence, the minimum number of piston rings used to avoid blow by loss are 2. At least 2 piston rings are used, and we can use 3, 4, 5 also, but minimum 2 piston rings are required to avoid blow by loss. And my dear students, whenever there is leakage of air fuel mixture, then it is called blow by loss, and because of this blow by loss, unburned hydrocarbons will come out. Therefore, there will be a unburned hydrocarbon pollution takes place. We can say unburned hydrocarbon pollution takes place because of this air fuel mixture leakage or blow by loss problem. And such type of unburned hydrocarbon pollutions we are going to understand in thermochemistry topic, which is the last topic of this chapter. Thank you, dear students. In next lecture we are going to see air standard assumptions in IC engine.